So Mikyx, by far listed as one of the best supports in the European region, has also fallen victim to the absolute shitstorm that has been the 2022 offseason. At this point, I find this such a shame because this is probably a perfect example of how the business semantics of these esports teams has really diluted what we as fans really wanted to see, and that is to just really witness the most beautiful League of Legends possible. I'd like to give a forward though. By all means, I don't think this is the fault of anyone in particular, no matter how the situation may present itself. As easy as we might try to pin the situation on maybe Ocelot, maybe other teams for promoting the absolutely greedy mindset that's been happening this offseason, but the situation is really more complicated than this. There's a lot of moving parts that go into decisions like this, and it truly is just difficult to understand the true reasons that things like this happen, no matter how easy it may seem that we can pinpoint something. One thing that isn't difficult to really pinpoint, however, is Mikyx himself, and more specifically what he brings to the table as a player. His performance as a player is as clear-cut as it gets, essentially. Winning so many splits on G2, having such strong showings at Worlds, being able to serve his role on a team of greats. As someone who I've generally found to be a quiet player, I think Mikyx has really subtly inserted himself as a great asset to almost any team you could imagine. But what you wouldn't imagine is him being on a bench. With an incredibly high estimated buyout sitting at around 1.5 million euros, it was definitely a lot to stomach in order to secure a player like him, to the point where many teams ended up backing off and not really showing much interest. Subsequently, G2 reduced his buyout to 500,000 and even again to 250,000, at which point he was getting offers from Western orgs, but with offers probably not suited to what he was looking for in terms of his career. With speculation being that these offers were not compelling enough for him, Mikyx has eventually opted to sit back and simply stream for the 2022 spring split for the LEC. There is a lot of hate towards G2 for essentially paywalling Mikyx out of the job, and I definitely think that there's an issue with this. However, to play devil's advocate here and to provide some much needed context to the situation, this was done out of necessity and competitive integrity for G2's prospects in the coming year. Ocelot has been one of the more vocal team owners in the LEC and has a level of passion for the game that essentially extends into everything he does with the team now at this point. Once as a player, and now as an owner. Potentially controversial moves that he's done are considered fair game for him, because for him this is the game. Anything that he can do in his power, he will do for the sake of his team and his organization. We've seen it before with the rise of C9 perks and literally putting in the terms of agreement that he cannot play for Fnatic, and we're seeing it now with the ways he's pricing players and moving things around. While not every team will take it to the extent that G2 is, every team in some way, shape or form is thinking about their own potential options as well, and that's because it's quite important to be thinking about. It's definitely been a mess behind the scenes for this year, based on the experiences from many players, but that's because this reflects a change in the space, the pressure that these teams are feeling from other teams, and the actions that they've had to take in response. This ties back into the mindset and mentality of how competitive League of Legends has changed, however, and I don't think it's in a way that's good for the game. Whenever you have hoped to make a team in League of Legends, you hope to create some of the best teams in the world. However, the team mentality has shifted from just truly focusing on finding and garnering the best players to playing the money game and manipulating whatever pieces you can. At the rate it's currently going, competitive League of Legends is getting quite soulless, and the focus has heavily become just about playing this game, of being able to push the pieces in your direction. Of course, getting good talent and building the best roster possible is still going to be at the forefront for many teams. There's just these undeniable factors that these teams have to worry about, and outcomes like this are becoming more and more common as a result of it. Is it really G2's fault for this, and was Mikyx cucked out of the job? It's both a yes and a no. It's a yes because the way that his contract was treated was definitely not fair to Mickey, there's no doubt. But no in the sense that this is actually something the org can and has to do in a way. If this dynamic continues, I do think some changes or rulings will be introduced to the space of the competitive league, and it's definitely harmful to many players and teams in the process, but such is life in the industrialization and continued growth of these leagues. Hope I provided some much needed context to the situation, and I hope this was insightful. That's it from me though, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay fresh.